let's get rolling with some football. Ian, it's so good to have you. And, man, I hope you survived the storm on Tuesday, and I think you got one coming your way right now.
Yeah, it just started here. Again, the last thing anybody wanted to see was some rain. But, yeah, I mean, we're lucky looking around. I mean, anybody listening who, really had issues because of the rain and the flooding, I really feel for you. It's terrible. But, yeah, we were really lucky here on the east side.
Well, good. And, man, it's good to have you. And Mikey's with us. So let's start right now by letting everyone know that Ian's appearance, part of our NFL Gold Nuggets feature presented by David Creasman and DC Creasman Jewelers. Well, fellas, let's start first with the Washington football team. Thanks for pointing this out, Ian. They've narrowed down the list of possible names that they're looking at. I'm just getting used to Washington football team, but the names are Armada, the Washington Presidents, the Washington Brigade, the Washington Red Hogs. Hold on, okay, here we go. The Washington Commanders, the Washington Red Wolves, the Washington Defenders, or just stick with the Washington football team. Now, they've decided on 3 of the finalists from the list, and do you know which ones those are?
I don't know which ones those are. I've heard that Red Wolves is pretty popular, but no, I have no idea which of the 3 are potential finalists. They're not going to choose Armada, I don't think, but that's actually the name I like the most. But I think all of the names are kind of appealing. Commanders, I think that was a name of a Alliance of American Football team. I think that was San Antonio's team. Not that that matters if Washington decides to choose that for their new name, but what about you guys?
You know, Mike, I like the Washington Defenders. I like the Washington Commanders, the Red Wolves as well, because I think that also acknowledges an ethnicity link as well, which is really nice. But I got used to the Washington football team. Is there anyone or two that stick out to you?
I guess the Presidents, would certainly be a good one. Don't mind the Armada. I think kind of like something different too as well. So
yeah,
be interesting to see.
Yeah, man. And so, Ian, any word when the football team will decide on a final name?
Pretty soon here. I not necessarily by the end of this month, but it's coming up soon. I think right now they sent this flag up the poll and are seeing what fans are thinking, maybe what some of the response is on social media. But no, there hasn't been an exact timetable as to when a final name is going to be chosen.
Gotcha. Well, let's move to the on-field action, or we're really maybe just getting a little closer to on-field action. But, Ian, why is the FBI now involved in the Deshaun Watson sexual assault cases?
Well, interestingly, the FBI is investigating the fact that one of the people suing Deshaun Watson might be trying to extort him, or that's what's being investigated. That's not saying one of those plaintiffs actually was, but apparently the behavior of at least one of the people accusing Deshaun Watson, the manner in which they asked for money, were demanding money, and then what they threatened to do if they weren't paid are the issues that the FBI is investigating. Deshaun Watson's attorney says they did not contact the FBI. The FBI contacted them. So if that's to be believed, this is something that the FBI came up with or decided on their own reconnaissance.
Wow. Okay. Boy, Deshaun Watson just needs 21 more of those, and he'll be in good shape at that point. But yeah, I mean, they got to nail this down. If someone did that, they need to, and they prove it, they need to be charged big time.
That's really a shame, because that puts all the other cases in jeopardy or cases in question mark. Maybe
Watson's supporters would be like, "See, I told you." Well, right. That's one person out of.
I know it is. I know it's one, but
they work this way, right? Like, well, it's one, so everyone is doing the same thing.
But until we have proof of all this stuff, so it'll just be interesting to see what happens. But this doesn't help those girls' causes, and so it.
And the lawyer who's representing these women also confirmed that he was contacted by the FBI as well in regards to this. So this isn't just Watson's attorney making this up, or
Yeah, that attorney Busby, I don't know. He's got a little Michael Avenatti in him, I think. I'm not sure about it. The jury for me is still out on him.
And we saw how well that worked out for Michael Avenatti.
Exactly.
So,
if he could listen to this show, he'd be doing so from prison. All right, well, that's another development. We'll see where this one goes. As Ian Castleberry joins the Wise Guys on the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines and our NFL Gold Nuggets feature presented by DC and the gang at 269 Tunnel Road, your one-stop jewelry shop. Ian, this is great. Now, how did Jamal Adams' mom help him to sign with the Seahawks for that 4-year, $78 million deal, which we should point out $38 million is guaranteed?
Yeah, this is interesting because Jamal Adams and the Seahawks looked like they were going to reach an impasse here, and there was talk that the Seahawks were going to shut down negotiations and then just let Adams become a free agent and slap the franchise tag on him once that time came. And Adams, it sounded like, was getting ready to put up a fight as well. But Jamal Adams' mother texted him and told him he needs to take this offer. And as Adams put it, she just basically said my full name.
Yeah, I love that.
telling me I need to accept this deal. And so, yeah, I think virtually anyone can relate to that. When your mother calls you by your full name, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, Patrick Lynch, Ryan. Yeah, I heard that more times than I cared when I was a kid growing up. All right, good on you, Mom. This will be the new trend, Mike Gore. Be like, dang it, we can't get him to move on this. All right, I got his mom's cell number. Let's get her involved in this. And because Mom probably said, "What are you thinking? This is more money." Who knows what Mom said, but I'm sure that might have been part of it. Just take it. This is unbelievable. You're happy. We'll be happy. This is good. Okay, Mom.
Moms are very powerful, as we all well know. Mm-hmm. I remember when I'm coaching softball, one of my year at UNCA, we practiced outside in kind of cold weather. I told the team, hey, we're going to have to practice in this and get used to it. I was real proud of them. We had an ice hour practice. Some of the baseball team was complaining because it was cold, and I thought, here the girls all took it well, and they did and well. Then I talked to my mom. And she said, well, why are you at school so early on a Saturday morning? I said, we had practice. Practice! Michael, Joseph, Corey, it's 35 degrees outside. You're not going to have a tea if they have pneumonia. But, and then we never did practice in 35-degree weather again.
See, there you go. It's hitting us locally here, too. Hey, Ian, Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy says Dak will not play in preseason games, coming off ankle surgery and, of course, dealing with the sore throwing shoulder now. And Ian, no surprise, Dak will not play, as other elite quarterbacks will also lay out for this preseason. But is his shoulder issue an issue for Dak, or is more being made out of it than it really is?
Well, both McCarthy and Prescott say that if this was the regular season, he would play. So it sounds as if that they're taking precautions here. And, of course, Prescott also coming off ankle surgery, which is one reason why McCarthy thought it was important initially that Dak Prescott see some live action and play in the preseason. So his first live action wouldn't be, against Tampa Bay in the Week 1 season opener. But I've seen some eyebrows raising about, just exactly what kind of shoulder injury this is. Like, this isn't a typical injury that you see in a quarterback. It's the lat muscle, which is like the bigger muscle kind of near the shoulder blade. So I don't think this is just a situation where he's been throwing too much and the shoulder's bothering him. But McCarthy says they're going to go on a throwing program and gradually increase that workload. He's not going to play in the preseason. Like you said, Pat, is this a big deal? Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, other established NFL quarterbacks that aren't going to play. The Cowboys didn't have a real training camp last year, really, because of COVID. So normally you would think this is something that really would bug a coach like Mike McCarthy, but he appears to just be accepting reality. I don't know. Has this been addressed on Hard Knocks? I haven't watched the first episode.
Yes, the first one, and it was fascinating. I was just going to bring that up, fellas. Dak Prescott not happy about being held out in practice, and I don't know what this relationship is going to continue, how this develops between McCarthy and Dak Prescott. I don't see a Belichick Brady there. I don't see a breakdown, but, McCarthy can be a little bit brash sometimes, and Zach's frustrated, Mike Gore. So we'll see what comes out of this, because I think how this is handled moving forward, then that's how Dak, I think, is going to look at McCarthy.
I heard somewhere where one day in practice, before practice, he was using his left hand. He was throwing he was just kind of fooling around throwing with his left hand, which makes you think there might be something there with him, but they've got to get this right, or else it might be a long year for Big D.
Yeah, I mean, it's not McCarthy's fault. The trainers are saying this. Remember Jerry Jones, by the way, who was very involved in episode number 1, which is ironic because he doesn't really look for the spotlight. So this is a little bit surprising. I know that was not dripping with sarcasm. I was pouring with sarcasm, but he was He was talking to the trainer, and the trainer said no. So if Dak's upset with the coach, he's kind of barking up the wrong tree there. Ian, Tim Tebow released by the Jags, and that could not have been an easy conversation for Urban Meyer, and I think probably let the rest of the team know, I love this guy, and I still cut him. So it's like, shape up in training camp. All right, so that's had to be a difficult conversation, but not a surprising one, quite frankly. So is this it for Tim, Ian, or does he want to play, I don't know, power forward in the NBA next?
Yeah, I think this was an inevitable conclusion. Maybe it was a surprise after the very first preseason game, but we're getting to the time now where really serious roster decisions have to be made. I don't know. I think a lot of people are giving Urban Meyer credit for playing 4D chess here, bringing in, as you said, Pat, bringing in one of his most prized and cherished players, and if he was going to cut Tim Tebow, then that sends a message to the rest of the team that what he's willing to do to make the team better. I don't know if I completely buy that. Dealing with professional players here, I'm sure Tim Tebow worked hard and was a good presence in the locker room and so forth. But, yeah, I think this is it. I don't think there's any other team that would have given him this shot as a tight end or a fullback. Certainly he's not going to get another chance as a quarterback. And maybe he's already moving on. I got a press release this morning that he's a new spokesperson for Clean Juice. There's a location, I think, in Biltmore Park. So, Tim Tebow already ringing up the endorsements despite getting cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Don't cry for me, Argentina, right, Mike? He'll be okay.
And I think I heard, too, that, when they did sign him, gave him a chance that, Tebow jerseys, Jaguar jerseys, they made some money off it and stuff. Yeah. So it ended up being a profitable thing for Jacksonville. I mean,
he'll probably still sell the jerseys.
Yeah, you never know. But hey, it's never, to me, it was not as the big story when he made it out to be. He got a chance. It didn't go very well as far as, I think there was some clips of his blocking ability and let's just say that.
I was going to say, he had a couple of welcome to the NFL moments for sure in that first preseason game with a couple of those block attempts.
Yeah, I think Travis Kelce's, role as one of the top tight ends it was not threatened by Tim Tebow.
I think he'll be okay there. Hey, Ian, let's move over to the West Coast for Josh Rosen, released by the 49ers. I always felt the quarterback didn't really get a fair shake at times, in the league, but he was not picking up the offense, and that sent him packing. Shoop has always said when it comes to Josh Rosen, and you're looking at a quarterback, a high-end quarterback coming out of college, and Shoop said, the fact that his college football coach, Jim Mora, was fired, he says the NFL looks at that pretty closely. He's never been a big Josh Rosen fan, and he's an NFL quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator. So is there another opportunity out there for Rosen? I just feel like if he was on a team that really invested in him, maybe something could come from it.
Yeah, I think another team will give him a chance. He's only 24 years old. I mean, he's already going to be on his fifth team, which definitely is a concern. And maybe, he was overhyped and overdrafted, as it were. There certainly does seem to be a reason why he's bouncing around. I mean, in some cases, I think it was bad luck, maybe with Arizona, that I think the general manager may have been fired had he not drafted Kyler Murray, so I think there was some pressure there. Not exactly sure why it didn't work out in Miami, but, the opportunity to draft Tua. How many of these situations are bad luck versus Rosen just not being able, as you said, to pick up an offense? He was even kind of a little bit of a oddball in college, and I wonder if that. I don't know how you guys feel. Like sometimes around draft time, you hear things about like, oh, people talk to him. He doesn't really seem to love football or breathe football, which sometimes makes my eyes roll. I mean, what's wrong with somebody actually having other interests and having a life and having not making their entire lives football? But maybe there is something to that with Josh Rosen, that he just doesn't take this as seriously, live and breathe football as some coaches and teams would like.
Yeah, look, his dad's a doctor, I think in like Redondo Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, one of those really upscale areas, or multimillionaires. And sometimes when you come from that upbringing, you're not as hungry as someone who maybe has been raised in a more difficult, with a more difficult upbringing on that. And there are just times where Rosen, I think, just kind of, he's a bit of a flighty guy. And I'm thinking that in part is kind of Mike played into this.
You would think so, but he has had some bad luck being drafted in Arizona. And on a really bad Arizona team. I think Steve Wilkes, the Appalachia State grad, former Panthers defensive coordinator, was their head coach for a year. And Steve's a fine coach, but he's more defensive coordinator than he was a head coach. And boy, they just gave up on him after a year. And the Dolphins, he thought he had a shot there, but they got two in Ryan Fitzpatrick. And so he's had some bad luck. And the 49ers, he really would have had to be spectacular to beat out Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah. And so by the same token, he hasn't taken that next step. There were a lot of people that thought the Bills should have taken Josh Rosen over Josh Allen. And Josh Rosen even said, you took the wrong Josh. Well, I think that's been confirmed that he was wrong.
Yeah, no kidding. By the way, speaking of the Bills, it is our NFL Gold Nuggets feature presented by DC Creasman Jewelers at 269 Tunnel Road. So let's get rolling here, fellas, if we can. And stand by.
The Bills make me wanna shout, kick your heels up and shout, throw your hands up and shout, throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I gave you a little extra time there.
Thank you very much.
Just for that.
Come on.
All right, here we go. The Buffalo Bills and Mike Gore's Bills takeover question, Ian, is, I think, a pretty darn good one here. So let's get to it. I'm just pulling it up here. All right, a bit of an awkward question here. What do you take away from the Bills' first preseason game, Ian? A 16-15 win over your Lions.
Yeah, I wonder if Mike and I were the only people in Western North Carolina watching that game on Friday night.
Yes.
A very down to the buzzer battle between the Bills and Lions, which Josh Allen didn't play. I don't know how much can be taken away from this game. It certainly looked like the Lions, were encouraging Jared Goff to check down frequently,
yes,
which is not very fun to watch. I know the Lions' new head coach, Dan Campbell, has taken a lot of flack for his clock management at the end of the game, which gave the Bills an opportunity to drive for the winning field goal. Campbell insists that, they called the game differently than they would have had it been a regular season game. They weren't as concerned about the clock versus seeing how David Blow would handle a 2-minute situation, how the Lions defense would handle a 2-minute situation on defense. But how did you see it, Mike?
From a Bills fan, I was real pleased. I thought they really wanted to work on the running game, and I thought they did a good job on that. The Bills' top draft pick, Rousseau, had a sack on the first possession, and beat
the Lions first round.
Yes, exactly. So I know that meant a lot to the. I know that meant a lot to the Bills. They really felt like they had to address the pass rush. But preseason games are like hen's teeth. They're nice, but they don't amount to anything. But I guess for the Bills, there was really the quarterback who looked the worst was Trubisky. Actually, Webb looked pretty good for the Bills, and then Jake Fromm, who was struggling a little bit there with pass protection. They did a good job. Then he on 4th and 10, he makes that beautiful 40-yard completion, that set up the winning field goal, which I know, I know you couldn't have been too happy with the way that was covered and stuff.
Regular season game, I might have been buying a new TV.
Yes, because I know what you mean. Because I've been there too on that. But it was strange. But I think for both teams, they got what they wanted out in the exhibition game. Like I said, I like the way the Bills made a real commitment to running the ball. And, Singletary is interesting. Devin Singletary was one of the regulars that played a lot, which was, I don't know if that's a little message like, hey, this is a big year for you, pal. So, you're going to play in that second quarter. Now, Zach Moss was hurt, but I thought the Bills, I thought that was interesting. I thought they did a pretty good job defensively overall, too. But who was the fellow for the Lions that, the running back that came in the fourth quarter and scored on his second play? He looked really good, Ian.
Oh, what's his, Craig Reynolds, yeah.
Yes, he looked great.
Literally introduced himself to his teammates in the huddle. That's how new he was to the Lions training camp. So, he looked good. He may have earned himself a job. I mean, he won't be the starter. That's going to be DeAndre Swift. And they also signed Jamal Williams in free agency. But, I thought Craig Reynolds definitely did look impressive. Yeah,
I thought the Lions that last drive, they had set up for the field goal. I thought they kind of the Bills on their heels defensively. I mean, I thought they maybe should just go on for the touchdown, but they just kind of set up for the field goal and gave the Bills some time to for Jake Fromm to work his magic. So, but again, for the Bills quarterbacks, I thought that those guys look pretty good. But again, this is probably the last time we'll talk about Jake Fromm this year when it comes to the Bills. And, Bills have got are in Chicago Saturday afternoon, and you guys got the Steelers, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's another tough matchup. I'm already preparing myself for what's going to be a very long season. But
you guys.
Ian, how about the NFL Network though? If the field goal's good, well, that's it. Bye. We'll see you. And we're going to go to Phoenix now. Like, there's still 25 seconds left to go in a game, and for Bills fans, that was plenty of time for home run throwback, which of course was the most illegal play in the history of the NFL and stuff. But
not again.
The NFL Network, they knew who the opponent was, so they thought they would just go on to the next game. But that was funny how they cut right out. Yeah.
Can you leave? There's still time left, So anyway.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what. Good luck to your Bills. Good luck to the Bears. Trubisky going home. He better get it together. He did not, have that good debut, but we'll see how he handles.
He only threw 2 passes. Like I said, they're really working on the running game. So I think so. It's hard to say, but his first pass was not great, and but his second pass was okay. But again, we're just working on the running game. So we'll see what happens in the second game.
Head coach Mike Gore with the wise guys, just working on the running game, kids. All right, well, good luck on that, Ian. Thank you as always. Greatly appreciate you. You know that, friend, and you're off next week. Well deserved. Get some rest and enjoy. We'll catch up in a few.
Yeah. Taking next week off. Thank you. We'll jump right into football season after that.
Yeah, man. Can't wait. Go get him, buddy. Enjoy.
All right. Drive home safe, guys.
Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Ian. Appreciate that.